Uh, Wanted to talk about this. I guess this is a kind of my thoughts for now on the subject. I remember Blondie, all of his self-righteous horseshit. If you are in this church and you are a member of this church, you are not the good guys. Okay? Just keep that in mind for everything you do, and don't be surprised when you're in hell when you're dead. The... How to explain this? You see, Blondie said you're gonna learn something about yourself, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I think what he intended for me to learn was I have a learning comprehension disorder. And I think that was the end goal, because even Anal Eating Mummy God seemed a little horrified when him and they both found out I have a learning comprehension disorder. They were like, and then they were like, is it something that can be worked through? Is it something that can be ignored? Is it something that... No. When I was in the special ed room, there was this Republican teacher I absolutely fucking hated. And one of the dumbest days of my life was... because I needed a teacher to assist me in learning shit. This guy decided I was really smart and I was really brilliant. And he was like, man, this kid knows so much. And he was just like, it's a shame he's lazy and can't learn. And if you know where this is going, yeah. So this guy took it upon himself not to help me, to teach me a lesson about life by forcing me to work alone, to which I actually started falling behind the class because I couldn't comprehend anything. And this guy insisted I was lazy. And this is the thing about my comprehension disorder. When it gets really bad, I start running fevers. And they could literally give me a fucking thermometer and see I was running a fever, and to this guy, it wasn't good enough. This guy literally harassed me to the point that a teacher had to step in and tell him you're being cruel. And then he was like, everybody has the same potential. Nobody blah, 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 blah. And then the teacher was like, that's fine, but some people are wired different. Some people are, and she took him into the room and showed him one of those kids in the wheelchairs that just drools on themselves. And then she was like, do that to him. And he was like, I wouldn't do that to him. And then she's like, you're doing that to Bobby. And then he was like, it's different because that guy's smarter than me and he knows better. And I was like, yes, yes, I have a great understanding of things. Okay. And this guy was a son of a bitch, and it wouldn't surprise me if he was just doing what he was doing to Kneecap. But my point about this story is this guy, in his self-righteousness, assumed I was being lazy and just didn't want to apply myself. So he forced me to, and it didn't work. Because it was never going to work, because the parts aren't there. And I think Blondie's stupid plan is the exact same as that guy's plan. And I think the only thing Blondie has taught me is, once again, I have a learning comprehension disorder. There is nothing smart about not helping your fellow men. There's nothing intelligent about it. It just creates dumb and desperate people who do dumb and desperate things. That is all it does. And then these people in the church are so self-righteous, they're like, I wouldn't have done that, but I guarantee you could think of a scenario that would force them into doing any horror you know to man. You lock them in a room with their families and tell them that all they gotta do is commit cannibalism, you let them out of the room, there's no way out of that room, they'll eat each other. Okay? This is a fact of mankind. Okay. It is regretful that I do have a learning comprehension disorder. I don't get upset about it. I just roll my eyes whenever, I tell people, you know. But my whole point about that guy's story is he was such a dumbass. He couldn't fucking understand me. And I think Blondie and even the church, I guess the former president now, is too stupid to understand that. I don't think you can explain it to him. I remember Blondie was like, we found a guy that has a learning comprehension, and he learned it, and that guy's not me. That guy's not me. That guy is not me. But one of the things I do find fascinating about the Carl Jung guy is he points out that basically your shadow self and repressing things is all the things that you repress that you think are bad or evil or not good, but we all have them. His whole aspect is we are all complete people, and the things that are in the shadow self are the things that leave us incomplete. Okay. I don't think in my shadow self there is something deep down in there that fixes my learning comprehension. I believe that is a physical problem, not a fucking, I don't know what you call it, psychological block. I don't believe my comprehension disorder is psychological. I think it's literal brain damage. I did break my head open when I was a kid. Okay. So I don't think searching my shadow self, and I think Anal Eating Mummy God lied about that when he was like, oh, once you go through the individualization and you do all the things, suddenly you'll be able to comprehend. It's not there. Can't do it. Can't help you. Sorry. We're done. Which that was another lie he told. I think the aspects of Carl Jung implies that I guess nobody in this church is actually better than anyone. There's no superior being because it implies we all have the same skills. Carl Jung's statements are, you can be just as reckless, just as stupid, just as violent as anybody in this church because it's in our nature. It's there. It's in the darkness of your mind. Your capacity for killing, I guess anybody can just kill somebody. As stated, I've said that before. Anybody can just kill somebody. It's not that hard. Yeah. And I guess I feel as though everything is drawing to a close now. Because the same shit has been the same theme all through this. I have a learning comprehension disorder. And at the end of the day, I have a learning comprehension disorder. And that's it. Okay. And as cool as it would look on a hero card to be like, and then he overcame his learning comprehension disorder, I think what I would prefer to do, honestly, for advocating for special ed people, and I think this would be a very big step in America, is to let this entire thing blow over, make sure this church secures itself forever, and gets to human traffic forever, but then get out of my fucking contracts and write a book about what happened to me. And then write down how I couldn't go to court because I have a learning comprehension disorder. And everybody took it as a joke, and then it went bad for everyone. And I think this would drive home the importance of helping other people. I think it would spit in the face of this church and all of their bullshit. I think it would get into everybody's head and go, sometimes people need help. And the people who are willing to help others are always the ones that needed help and never got it. The reason I was so happy to help everybody that was trapped in human trafficking is I was that 100% that guy growing up. I needed help and never got it. And now I'm in the same position where I need help and I could never have it. But I remember George Miller telling me that they're going to Sisyphus me until I learn some kind of lesson, which I guess the lesson is I have a learning comprehension disorder. And I'm going to keep saying that because I think the real lesson they wanted me to learn is self-reliance and the ability to do it yourself. You can do it yourself! No. No, you can't. You actually can't. Even in Carl Jung shit, he talks about the individualization, working with the shadow self and developing as a person. You actually have to have other people to recognize the traits in yourself that you yourself can't see. An example is if you go around going, that guy's an envious, stupid piece of shit, and you yourself is the most envious person on the planet. My father does this. He's the most insecure, jealous man on the planet, and thinks everybody is jealous of him. They're not. Okay. You see, if my father read Carl Jung, he'd be like, that's why I accuse everybody of, being envious. And I will say this, to some level, I'm a little emotionally stunted. But I am not emotionally stunted to the point that I'm a fucking cock. Like everybody in this church. Another thing is I do feel guilt or remorse, so I cannot be a narcissist. But I also recognize I don't have the ability to act on those emotions. The other aspect is I feel the full spectrum of emotions. I can do sympathy and empathy. I just don't. Because once again, emotions are a way for other people to control you. That is what they do. And to the wives I had sex with, this is kind of an important thing. When I was out there and I was president, I actually hypnotized you women into thinking I was the greatest thing on the planet. I remember telling them, I was like, I want you to hypnotize them into loving me. And the wives had a back and forth with me, and I was like, no. I was like, I cause feelings of joy and splendor in them when I'm near them. That way they like me. You were hypnotized before they did all that bullshit to your brain and fucked you up and gave you multiple personalities, and now you're moderately retarded but think you're normal and you live in a constant brain fog. Okay. Also, I do not want to marry any of the men I had sex with when I was out there, because that did happen. I did have sex with men when I was president. Because I didn't know the difference because I was high on drugs, but whatever. Yeah. I think that's my goal, and I'm pretty sure, I remember Raina Mom and God telling me these people are going to murder me or whatever the fuck, but like, I don't know, maybe one day I'll stumble into a lawyer that'll just get me out of this stupid fucking contract, okay? Like, that is the only hope of the world ever finding out my story and what happened to me. And, like, I don't know, that stupid shit about me opening a church, maybe my story can be my Bible. That way this church can't legally stop me from fucking telling my story. It's my fucking Bible, you can't attack my religion. Ooh, this story involves telling about how we're pedophiles that rape kids and human traffic, and we go around poisoning people and doing all the wrong things, and it's this Bible, and everybody reads it, and they know what we do, and they don't want us anywhere near them. Oh God, his church is taking over, because it's socialist, and he's redistributing wealth and helping people. It's gonna destroy everything. Oh, we got so much money from human trafficking. They can't get rid of us. They can't, but they can force us all into Utah. And then get ready for the execution. Whatever, man. The fact about life is, I don't believe there are real heroes. And I don't think it's because they can't. I think it's because this church won't let there be real heroes. Because they hate them. Because heroes mean helping other people. And of everything this church does, the one thing it doesn't do is help other people. Because helping other people makes every member in this church physically ill. It makes them sick.